Hey everybody, just got a interesting article I want to share with you here. Arming of Hezbollah could spark Israel-Syria war. This is according to a U.S. official. Didn't give his name for condition of anonymity. But what he said was, if Syria supplies Hezbollah with surface-to-air missiles, the SA-2 specifically, war will break out and Tel Aviv will directly strike Damascus. Here's a quick video of a SA-2 that I found on YouTube. You can go check out that video just by clicking on this. But the official also said Syria trained Hezbollah members in Damascus on how to use the SA-2 missiles. Israel has previously warned the country not to supply Hezbollah with the missiles. Apparently these missiles were used during Vietnam, and they were a lot of trouble to our people in Vietnam, and they've also taken out more than enough Israeli jets and Iranian jets. So I guess it's a proven system that's effectively taken jets out of the sky. The article goes on to say, again from the U.S. official, any possible military attack by Hezbollah against Israel will be met by a harmful war on Lebanon. Any new attack from Hezbollah against it will not spare Damascus from a strike. Now that U.S. official, last quote in the article says that he does not think a war will break out anytime soon unless Syria crosses the line. So that takes me to another article here. This one's a couple months old, but still very significant. It says Syria threatens to take back Golan by force. This article's from June, but the situation's still the same. It just says Syrian officials threaten to take back the Golan Heights by force if a peace agreement involving the return of the strategic plateau is not reached with Israel. Israel took over the Golan Heights in the Six-Day War in 1967, and one of the reasons, pretty much the only reason Syria won't come to the negotiating table with Israel is because their precondition for talks is that Israel automatically gives up the Golan Heights. All right, so it's plain to see that there's current events building up to the fulfillment of that particular prophecy. There's also some interesting things going on with Psalm 83. There's a guy, Frank Dimora. He's got a great newsletter that I suggest you subscribe to. Everything that I'm reading from here is from his newsletter from January 13th. So if you wanted to read that one specifically, that's the date of it. But he updates quite frequently, and it's very detailed. But here's what he's got on Psalm 83. Psalm 83 is a prophecy that has not been fulfilled as yet, but it will be fulfilled very shortly. We are witnessing events right now that are leading up to this war. Starting in verse 6, we are given the names of the nations who will come against Israel. The names of these nations are important to current events, as you will see. And then he starts reading from verse 1. Do not keep silent, O God. Do not hold your peace. And do not be still, O God. For behold, your enemies make a tumult, and those who hate you have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted together against your sheltered ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more. For they have consulted together with one consent, and they form a confederacy against you. The tents of now pay attention to this part where he identifies the countries, starting in verse 6. The tent of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagarites, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assyria has also joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. Deal with them as with Midian, as with Sisera, as with Jabin at the brook Kishon, who perished at Endor, who became as refuse on the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yes, all their princes like Zebah and Zalmunna. who said, "Let us take for ourselves the pastures of God for a possession." He goes on, "Oh my God, make them like a whirling dust, like the chaff before the wind. As the fire burns the woods and the flame sets the mountains on fire, so pursue them with your tempest and frighten them with your storm. Fill their faces with shame that they may seek your name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and dismayed forever. Yes, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that you, whose name alone is the Lord, are the Most High over all the earth." Now, Frank goes on to say, and sorry, Frank, I'm paraphrasing just a little bit here. Many of you are asking who are these nations identified in verses 6 through 8. They are modern-day Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and Egypt. And the Philistines represent the Palestinians. You may not know this, but all of these nations listed are nations that have been involved in Middle East peace talks, or at least involved in trying to get the talks started again. The Apostle Paul in 1 Thessalonians 5:3 warned us that sudden destruction would come at a time when they were calling for peace and safety. And when you read through Psalm 83, you see which nations this destruction was coming from. If God tells us in verse 3 and 4 that Israel's enemies have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones, they have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." Now we should focus on these specific nations to see if they are in fact the same nations involved in the call for peace and safety, which they are. And he says that in his report from yesterday, the 12th, he shows that both Syria and Lebanon are getting upset with Israel over the stalled peace process and Israel's refusal to give up East Jerusalem. Today's news gives us information on 3 of the nations listed in the Psalm 83 prophecy.